Good everyone, welcome back. Green day today, up 25.80. Small win, but I'm happy with how I traded it. I was cautious, sat out early and waited for something with better structure. It's not always about the size of the win, it's about trading well. So let's run through it. So I traded LIMN. I didn't look at pre-market at the open, which I usually do. I didn't look at that at all last night. I just thought, no, I'll just wait until I get up. I got up and all the leading gainers were had high floats. So they weren't really good setups for me. They were more thickly traded stocks and they weren't really moving anyway when I got up. But I didn't have to wait long for LIMN, which popped up basically just after 6:30. So I missed the initial pop here, and when I turned it on, got to the chart, it had sort of made this candle here. The bot actually got in here. I think it got in about here and took a profit on that first leg up. I didn't trade that. I wasn't quite sure of getting in so early. It sort of pulled back here and there was a chance to get in around 8.50, 8.60, 70. But I wasn't quite sure what the range was, and also I didn't know if it had news or not at this stage. So I left off that initial spike, initial push there. It pulled back. I didn't take this pullback either. I was waiting for confirmation. It went pretty quickly actually up to here and broke up to make a new high around 9.93. So I didn't take any of this stuff here, which was probably a bit of hesitation on my part, being kind of cautious after the last two red days. Pulled back here, a big pullback down to here, down to the low, and it held the 20 EMA, pushed up, broke through VWAP, and then came back down. And I got in here around 8.93, around as it bought back up from the 20 EMA. Probably a little bit early, wasn't quite ready to pop there. I held through all of this sort of chop around VWAP, pushed up, pulled back, didn't really hit my stop until here. So it kind of came down to around my stop, which is around 8.80, and broke down for a second and then bought back up above my stop. So I didn't stop out there. I generally, well, you know, sometimes your stock gets hit like a bottoming tail and you get stopped out and then it, you know, rips. So generally I wait for it to close below my stop or around my stop before I get out. But in this case, it didn't close below my stop and it kept going and finally broke up back through VWAP. Volume came in on this candle here and I held through this push up to 9.78. It came back down and on the next candle it pushed back up and I sold at 9.71. And I actually didn't sell all my shares. I missed 3 shares for some reason. And I think it's because I had clicked on my trading panel a dollar amount. So it would sell the dollar amount, not the actual shares I was holding. So it sold 31 shares when I had 34. So I had to re-enter 3 more shares to sell, and I sold that as well. So I got 9.71 with the majority of my shares and I think it was 9.68 or something like that for the other 3 shares. But it averaged out at 9.69. Yeah, 9.69 roughly. So that was my trade on LIMN, and that was $25.80 profit. Thing was is that I did think about getting back in on the retest of the VWAP. When it came back down here, it was bouncing off the 9 EMA and VWAP, and this would have been a good entry around here, around 9.20. Would have been great if I got in at 9.15 or lower, but realistically I probably could have got 9.20 if I'd put an order in down here to get back in. And this is where, on these types of stocks, coming down to retest VWAP, it's buying back up. It's a buy back in here. Anywhere through this area here. Aggressive entry, obviously, down here around 920. But even as it breaks up through this high here, 950, could have been an entry here as it broke over this red candle and, looking for that push higher. And it went to 10.15, so, decent trade there from 950 to 10, 50 cents a share, or from 920, even better, 80 cents, 90 cents a share in that second trade there. But I didn't take it, I was a bit cautious. I just wanted to have some green under my belt after the last couple of red days. So I left that alone, and that was pretty much me for the night. LIMN sort of rolled over after that, and that was sort of the end of that one. CYCC, I think, was another stock that popped up that was sort of met my criteria. It was a bit more expensive though. I couldn't afford many shares on this, so I think I couldn't afford about 15 shares. So it popped up here to a high of 34.39. I saw it as it had pulled back and pushed up here to about 27. I actually saw it down here. And I did think about getting in around 23.50. Around 23.50, around the 9 EMA. And I watched it push up here to 26 and pull back, and it still held around this level, around 23. And I really thought about getting in 15 shares here, thinking even if it pushed back to VWAP, I could take that 15 shares. That's, a couple of dollars a share, then it's, 30 bucks. And then it dipped down here, and this would have been a good dip to get in on. Dipped down to the 20 EMA, in at 22, and then it pushed up to 27.50, 28, nearly $28. So yeah, would have been a good trade in the end, but I didn't take it. This also had the potential to drop a couple of dollars as well, and then I'd be down 30 bucks and red on the day. So I didn't take it. I didn't want to have the risk, so I left CYCC alone in the end, and that one pretty much rolled over as well after that initial spike, and then that break of VWAP. LIDR was another one that popped up as well, and I watched this for a little bit. This is a higher, I think it had a higher float. LIDR, yeah, 17.31 million. Kind of a little bit on the high end for me. But it did grind up actually. Pushed up here, I saw it, where did I see it? From pushing from around 280 up to 312. And I saw this break here up to 357, and after that I actually called it a night and left, shut everything down sort of after this area here. But it sort of grinded up, and it was a bit more thickly traded on the level 2, so I steer clear of it because I'm not very good at trading higher float stocks. So left it alone, but it did put in a decent move there relative to its price. Went up $1.50 from where I saw it, around $3 up to $4.50. So decent push, and oh, that's not good. Yeah, so at the open it looks like it's pushed up into a halt here, and coming out of the halt it's dumped from 475. Looks like it opened there at 436, pushed up a little bit to 460, and then dumped back down to 393, closed at $4. So that's a nasty halt. Not as nasty as the one the other day though, that I got stuck in. Anyway, so that was pretty much it for the day. LIMN, bought 34 shares and $25.80, $25.81 profit on the day. So looking at the week, obviously I am in a big drawdown at the moment with the 2 red days previously. And looking at the month, you know, the majority of days are green. I've had 3 red days, but that big red day there was the one that has done all the damage, really. Yeah, so really got to get away from those emotional days, those red days. Yeah. This was a day where I didn't force anything. Passed on B setups, stayed patient, and took a solid trade when the opportunity came. Would I love a bigger green day? Of course. But this is how consistency is built, one clean trade at a time. Happy to be green, happy to be in control. Follow along for daily trade recaps, lessons learned, and the real journey of becoming a consistent day trader, one trade at a time. I'll be back tomorrow. Hei a pōpō.